What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Woodward Bets in the house. Good to be back here. Back at our normal team here. Beer and Scott had easy sitting in yesterday. And Scott, I got to give you guys kudos. 4-0 on the best bets to start the week here. So easy behind the glass today. I want to thank him for sitting in yesterday. And hopefully I can fill his shoes here today and give people some winners. But welcome into the show today. The plan is, as always, we'll cover some NFL, take a look at the early spreads, early injuries. Obviously, this is Thanksgiving week, so a couple games on Thursday. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We got 4 NBA games on the docket here tonight as well. A little action in college football going on. So, Scott, how you doing, buddy? 4-0 last night. Way to go. Way to get the week started here, my man.
Heck yeah, that's a good way to start the week. We had a boy Easy fill in yesterday, which he did a great job. We had a couple little minor technical difficulties along the way, but hey, we got through it. And as long as we're giving out winners, who gives a shit about any of that stuff? But yeah, it worked out really well. We had 3 NBAs. We had I had the over the first half of the football game, which man, Danny Dimes sucks, but I'm still happy they got to the 27, got over 26. But damn, Danny Dimes just looks like it looks like they need to give up on him.
Yeah, we'll recap that here momentarily. Got some somewhat breaking news coming out of that game here as well. It just kind of hit the wire a few hours ago. So we'll talk about that as well. But first thing, make sure you guys are following us on Twitter. At Woodward Bets page continues to grow. So thank you for your support over there. Follow the network at Woodward Sports as well. Tons of great shows on this network. So we continue to talk about it. So do that first of all. Friday will be, let's see, Scott, let's set up the schedule here for everybody for this week. So we normally do our NFL shows on Wednesday. We're going to push that back to Friday here for this week, but we will be covering the Thanksgiving Day slate for you guys. So take a look for that to hit on Thursday. Wednesday, we'll just kind of cover NBA, take the look at the injuries, things that we always do, and then we'll come back as always and cover college football on Saturday. Obviously, Michigan-Ohio State week, so a big game there. And then our Sunday live show covering the rest of the NFL games. So, Scott, anything you want to add to that? Just kind of want to give the people, we're not bailing on you. Just because it's Thanksgiving, we got to get you guys some winners on Thanksgiving. I mean, what's better than sitting around, eating a bunch of food, watching football, but best yet, winning your damn bets on Thanksgiving. That's like you can sit back and, kind of the Al Bundy to be fat from all the food, and your pockets will be fat as well. So, Scott, anything you want to add to the schedule here for this week?
Man, yeah, this is a hell of a week. We get to eat, we get to drink, we get to hang out with some family, we get to win some bets, and then we got Michigan, Ohio State. Man, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that football game. I think it's going to be really good. Should be a good time, but you're right, Chris. Nothing better than sitting around with the family, drinking a couple beers, watching your bets. And the good thing is we get the Lions game out of the way early. We get that out of the way, and then as the day goes on, we can, enjoy the football. But always fun to sit around on Thanksgiving and bet on some games because you got to win, Chris, because you and I have daughters, and we know what's coming the next day. The hand's going to be out, and it's Black Friday, Dad. I need some money. So we got to get us some winners for this week.
And that Christmas list gets more and more expensive as they get older. It's not just toys and things like that. Now it's iPhones and computers and TVs and AirPods. And so we got to hit those winners. So we'll continue to do that, but looking forward to that. So we'll have that show ready for you guys Thursday morning before the games go live. So we'll identify some of our favorite bets. I'm going to call it right now, Scott. The Lions are going to win this game on Thanksgiving. So we'll just set that little tease here for the game. But let's recap what we saw last night. Obviously, Tampa Bay rolls. You had the first half over. If I was on yesterday, I was on the under for the game, so that would have hit as well. It was looking a little dicey there for a while, but pretty bad performance from Daniel Jones, like you said. And that has led to the firing. A lot of people probably excited about this one. But offensive coordinator Jason Garrett, a former Dallas Cowboys head coach, has been fired by the New York Giants. So obviously a performance like that, this guy not very groundbreaking, we'll say, as an offensive coordinator. He runs a terrible offense. And I saw a stat since 2020, the Giants have scored the fewest touchdowns of any team in the NFL. In fact, your Lions got to have 61 touchdowns since the start of last season. New York Giants, 42. You have 19 less touchdowns than the Detroit Lions. So pretty incredible. But Jason Garrett out as offensive coordinator. So thoughts on that? Thoughts on the game last night? Some costly turnovers by Daniel Jones. Just some throws that one where he threw to the left and just threw it right to that big dude for the interception. I'm like, who are you even throwing the ball to? So that side was good to see Saquon Barkley back, but they didn't do much offensively. Tampa Bay looked fine. Tom Brady looked good. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans continue to get it done. So thoughts last night? I don't think this one surprised anybody with Tampa Bay kind of rolling here.
No, I mean, it really didn't. But I will say one thing, though. I mean, when you're watching those games, it's so obvious that when you have a really intelligent, experienced quarterback like Tom Brady, I mean, he just doesn't miss his looks. I know the one time they showed, and they actually kind of poked a little fun at Danny Dimes there. He threw to the outside corner of the end zone. He had Galladay running right in the middle of the field, right in front of his face, wide open. And I know, I think it was Aikman said, you're not going to get any more wide open than that in the NFL. And he didn't even look that way. But I could guarantee you if that was Tom Brady, that ball would have been in Galladay's chest before he knew it, and he would have been just walked right in the end zone. But, yeah, Danny Dimes just struggles a little bit. It looks like he has trouble reading, picking up his reads. Looks like he just gun shy, just puts the ball down, just starts running around. And I mean, they got a good offense. I mean, they got Barkley, they got some good receivers. They I know they've been injured a little bit, but he pretty much had his full arsenal last night and looked like shit. So I'm actually surprised though that they did get rid of Jason Garrett at this point, but I definitely don't blame him at all.
I'm not surprised. I mean, that guy brings zero creativity to an offense. It's just the same old stuff. Daniel Jones, the problem is he's teased us. He'll give you these big games. We're like, okay, this guy can play. And maybe it's us looking at it from a fantasy lens sometimes. Like, man, he puts big numbers on the board. He gives you those rushing yards. But success-wise as a team, this team has been terrible. I mean, Dave Gettleman as a GM, horrible. The jury's still out on Joe Judge as a head coach. So we'll see how that goes. But Garrett, I think losing him, bringing in somebody with a little bit more creativity, because you mentioned it, Scott, they have players there. I mean, give a decent quarterback, Kenny Galladay, Kadarius Toney, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard when he's healthy, Darius Slayton, Saquon Barkley. I mean, that's quite a crew of weapons. This offense should be much better than what they've shown over the last year and a half. So I'm surprised it took this long, honestly, for Jason Garrett to hit the brick. So we'll see what happens there. Who they bring in, likely just promote from within here for the rest of this season. But not a surprise. Tampa Bay side, again, everything looked good. Scott, do you watch the game with the announcers? Do you watch the Manning cast? I know there was some complaining last night. Personally, I watched the Manning cast. I find it very interesting. Those guys are pretty funny. They always have some decent guests on. I mean, the whole Kevin Hart segment was pretty funny. But I know there was a lot of complaining about Steve Levy, I believe, on the main broadcast, calling Chris Goodwin. Like, how are you a national level broadcaster? And I mean, if it was Giannis Antetokounmpo, all right, maybe we don't know how to pronounce his name right, but Goodwin, that seems pretty simplistic here. So which broadcast are you watching these days? I'm all on the Manning cast. I'm enjoying it.
Well, I don't want to have too big of a flex here, Chris, but you've seen before. I got 365s in my basement. So I actually watched two of them, and then I was watching a basketball game, but usually on the sound, I definitely have the Manning cast. They're way more entertaining, as you said. And I like the football aspect of it, like coming from their eyes and their point of view on different plays and maybe what was missed or what happened. I really enjoy that part of it. And you're right, man. Kevin Hart, he should be on there all the time. That dude cracks me up. That guy I think if he just walked in front of me, I think I would just start laughing. I mean, that guy is one of my favorites. I've actually seen him once or twice live, but he is one funny dude. So you can't say anything bad about Kevin Hart. He's awesome.
No, him and Eli, we're going at it a little bit because Eli went right to the size jabs. Are you a big NFL fan? And he caught on to it right away. Like, and called him out. No, those two kind of went back and forth. And I got to give Eli some credit. We always knew Peyton was funny. He's got them just the jabs, and he's kind of awkward, and it just makes him funny. But Eli always seemed like kind of a goober. We always saw the Eli face on the sidelines, and he's got some zingers himself, so it works well. It's just a different way to watch the game, and I like that they did that as a different channel. You don't like it, stick with the same broadcast with the normal broadcasters. That's fine, but I think it's a breath of fresh air, to be honest. Just a different way to watch the games, and I think you're going to see more of that. More teams, more networks going to different things like this, and looking for ideas like this. So I'm glad to see it's been successful.
I'd much rather have that than Booger. Man, Booger was terrible last year.
Oh, remember when he used to be on that cart and he'd be like cruising around and blocking like a whole segment of fans, and it was just that whole thing was a disaster. So we'll continue to see more innovation like this, man.
Remember when Booger tried to argue with all of us analytic nerds about going for 2, and he was saying it was stupid, and then all of a sudden all the DFS guys were like all on Booger, and you're stupid, blah blah blah. That was an entertaining night.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's transition. Let's talk. I'm sure you guys spoke about it yesterday. I didn't get to catch the show, but this whole LeBron, Isaiah Stewart thing. The suspensions came down, so 2 games for Stewart, 1 for LeBron, so a little bit lighter than I thought it would be. But you brought up a great point. These 2 teams play again here. I believe it's on the 28th. So the NBA is, to me, the most progressive league, the league that gets it the most. We've seen them, whether it's their involvement with crypto, whether it's, their involvement with NBA Top Shot, their global presence. They are a step ahead of all the other leagues. Baseball about 10 steps behind, Scott. That's a different conversation for another day. But they know this game's coming up, and people are going to be wanting to tune in and see what happens here, because Isaiah, man, he wasn't having it. I mean, this guy looked, I think you guys commented on it, but this guy could probably play some running back for the Lions the way he was running the ball, and he was ready to fight everybody in there, and I don't blame him. To me, I've been asked this question a ton over the last couple of days. Did LeBron mean to do it? You swing a fist that hard after looking back at somebody, you can't tell me that was an accident. I'm sorry. So I don't know if you saw it. I know you don't like LeBron, so I already know your answer here. But was this intentional? Were these suspensions enough for these guys? Should Stewart have been suspended more than LeBron? What do you think here?
Yeah, just like Skip Bayless said. I mean, I was listening around and you hear different stuff, and Skip Bayless, he closed his fist. I don't care. There's no excuse for that kind of action. I mean, I get it. I mean, Stewart gave him an elbow. I mean, push his arm down, whatever else. He literally closed his fist, looked at him, and just popped him right in the mouth, in the face. And then, what gets me is everybody saying, oh, Big Stu was in front of him. He had a shot. Well, just like Easy and I were talking yesterday, you know what, Chris, you get bapped in the face, whatever. Maybe you're in a bar and some guy reaches or something happens to you and you think, whatever, he just hit me. But then if you notice you're bleeding, I got to imagine your rage is just going to go from a 1 to a 10 instantly to realize the guy cut you and now you're bleeding. I think that's what happened. I think Big Stu realized he was bleeding from his mouth and from his eye. And that was it for Big Stu. I think he was pretty, I mean, I haven't seen a guy that upset in quite a while. And, man, kudos to some of them coaches that are on the Pistons that were trying to keep them away from everybody. I'm sure, man, they got plowed. But, yeah, you're right about him being a running back. We joked yesterday, let's put a cutout of LeBron in the end zone, give the ball to Big Stu, and tell him if he hands the ball to LeBron, maybe that's really LeBron. I think he could bust through that line there of the Bears this weekend and get us some yardage. But, man, I wouldn't man, Big Stu just looks like a dude you don't want to mess with. And, the other thing I heard, Chris, did you know he was like he boxed professionally as a kid, like a youngster? He was like 17 or 18. He was a boxer. So the dude can fight too. I bet you some of them NBA players know that. And I bet you LeBron, that's when he was sitting over there realizing, oh damn, I just done pissed off the wrong dude. So, but you're right. The NBA, I'm glad. It's the first time, Chris, I've looked ahead to in a Pistons schedule, and I can't tell you how long. And I'm glad the NBA did what they did. But I'm willing to lay bets right now that there's a load management going to be happening for LeBron. He's a yellow belly. He ain't no way he goes out there. That boy's scared. I'm telling you, I would be if I was LeBron. So I'd probably figure out a way I could sit out myself.
You don't want that smoke, man. That guy it wasn't just the hold me back thing. There's a lot of tough guys out there that, hold me back, and they make it a scene and then it turns into nothing. Isaiah Stewart was ready to literally smash some heads. He said one of those coaches got trucked in that video. It's fantastic. We also have to give some credit to your boys on the whiteboard. Cade Cunningham was kind of the head of keeping him back. So it's a good sign for Cade as a young player to be that heads up, to get out ahead of this. Like, you don't need this to turn into, I think we all would have liked to see Beef Stew get a few shots in on LeBron, but to be a good teammate, to get out ahead of this guy that's ready to truck somebody, it just shows you the kind of level-headedness that Cade Cunningham brings to the table. Let's stay on Cade Cunningham real quick. You got the sign up there, so I have to comment. I always enjoy your signs back there. Cade Cunningham, Rookie of the Year. So lay this on, Scott. You might be onto something here. So, I mean, obviously the number one pick is going to be in the mix, but plus 270 here for him. Some of the other guys with a realistic shot, Scotty Barnes with Toronto, playing outstanding right now, plus 300. Evan Mobley, plus 310, another fantastic rookie there with Cleveland. And then Jalen Green, obviously the guy that was the debate, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green with Houston, plus 470. So are you taking this Cade bet? Because I think all four of those guys, you can make a case for them right now at different points. Barnes has probably been the most consistent day to day from day one. Mobley's had some huge games. Green, I think he'll find his way. He's probably one I wouldn't go with right now, but we know the upside's there. And Cade, a slow start. We know that. It just took him a while, but playing some really good basketball right now. So you lay in that plus 270, think those odds could go up, down a little bit. I mean, if he continues to play well, you may not get him that high. So we always talk about timing your bets. Is this one you want to jump on right now?
Yeah, I actually like it. Like you mentioned, he started out so slow, but I've watched a few of these Piston games here recently, and he is pretty much, I think, taken over for Grant as the number one option here on this team. I mean, he's getting just so many opportunities, which, is obviously going to be big, especially for a rookie to come in and then just get that many opportunities is not really something you generally see. And the Pistons haven't been playing all that bad either. So I don't mind it at all. And Chris, if you really want to, you think about it now, like you mentioned, the timing, you literally could you're almost getting 3-1. You literally could take two of these guys here. And if one of them hits for you, you're still going to be ahead. So I don't mind that at all. Even if you wanted to take Cade, I just took a notice to it because it's just now barely below 3-1 at plus 270. So just thinking about that, hey, it gives me a little something to root for the Pistons, for Cade. Hopefully he can stay healthy the rest of the year. And I think he's got a really good shot at winning that award. So I definitely like that bet. But, yeah, like I mentioned, if you want to play it safe, you could actually pick two of these guys here and increase your odds. And like I said, you still be ahead if one of the two hits for you.
Another kind of under the radar reason I like your pick here with Cade is these other to me, it's a three horse race. I'm going to eliminate Jalen Green unless he starts going absolutely ham here over the next couple months. I think it's the three with Barnes and Mobley. Those two guys, a lot of injuries on their team. I mean, Toronto's been dealing with injuries all season long, starting to get a little bit healthier here recently. Cleveland's been missing Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, Kevin Love. I mean, so those guys start coming back. Maybe these guys' numbers take a little bit of a dip where Detroit needs Cade Cunningham. Like I said, he's the number one option, and he's doing it across the entire stat sheet is what I like. I mean, you put the ball in this guy's hands, he's going to get you the rebounds, the assists. It's not just the scoring, but the shooting has been there. We know he can attack the rim. His size can be a problem for other smaller guards trying to guard him. So there's a lot of outs for you on this bet. So I'm with you here. I would like it a little bit longer. I like the longer odds usually, try to take more of a shot, but sometimes you take the 2.5 to 1, you take the 3 to 1, and you bank those winnings. So I like that bet quite a bit. So let's stay here with the NBA, Scott. We'll take a look at the 4 games we have tonight. Obviously, bets we'll save for the end of the show, but we got your Pistons in action here tonight against Miami. We got the Lakers and the Knicks, Denver, important, Portland, and the Clippers and Dallas here tonight. So we'll start with some injuries. We know LeBron James not going to play tonight for the Lakers. We also have Anthony Davis dealing with an illness. So we'll see if he's able to give it a go. But if they're missing those two, obviously big bumps to guys like Talen Horton-Tucker's been playing great, and Russell Westbrook. Nikola Jokic dealing with a wrist injury, so we'll see if he's able to give it a go tonight against Portland. Luka may return for Dallas tonight against the Clippers, so obviously that would help him. Locally, obviously Stewart out with the suspension. Killian Hayes also out tonight for Detroit. Michael Porter Jr. remains out for Denver. Mitchell Robinson out for the New York Knicks tonight, so some more minutes for some of the bigs there. That's pretty much it. No Kelly Olynyk tonight, no Nicholas Batum for the Clippers, and then it's a bunch of smaller names that really don't matter. So, Scott, 4 games, DFS-wise. Who are you looking at tonight? Who are we prioritizing? Any value out there you're seeing? What's the plan for your NBA builds tonight?
Yeah, just kind of looking at the 4 games. I think the big elephant in the room is Luka. Is Luka going to play? Sounds like he's probably not going to play. It sounds like he sent out a tweet, was a little bit frustrated with his injury. So it sounds like he may not get. He may sit out another day or two. So if that's the case, all kinds of value there. Brunson would at that point is a guy that I really like. Porzingis and Hardaway, those guys usually get most of the load when Luka's out. So Brunson probably be a guy that I really want to start with. And then here on these Pistons, as you mentioned, I mean, we have no Stewart. We also do not have Kelly Olynyk. So I'm thinking Luka Garza may come out and get a start tonight. It's possible. If so, he is min price on both sites. So somebody there that maybe a look at. And then also, too, on the Pistons, I think you may get a lot of love for Joseph tonight. Last time he came in, he played like almost 38 minutes. So he's another cheap guy. But as we were talking about Cade Cunningham, Chris, man, this guy's salary has been ballooning up. He's $7,500 now on FanDuel, $7,400 on DK. And before here, I mean, he was pretty cheap. So obviously now he's getting noticed even by these sites. So just some kind of thoughts there. But yeah, just I think the Joker might be somebody too that we got to kind of keep our eye out for. I think he's a pretty good spend tonight. But yeah, I think the big news is Luka, if he's going to be in or not.
Yeah, that's a tough one, obviously. I think he'll be back, but do we get 100% Luka? Does he get his full allotment of minutes? I doubt it. So it kind of throws a wrench in everything. It makes you not really want to run a little Luka out there, and then it dings, the Brunsons, the Porzingises, the Tim Hardaways. They all kind of take a hit where he's out of the lineup. Those guys obviously are getting all the run, all the usage. So we'll see if we get an update on that, hopefully before the slate locks here tonight. Some other guys I think are in good spots. We mentioned Talen Horton-Tucker of the Lakers, just playing fantastic. When this guy's gotten an opportunity, any of those stars are out, he's been the guy they can go to offensively. So a tough matchup here with the New York Knicks tonight, but I really like him, still cheap across the industry. Other side of that game, we mentioned no Mitchell Robinson. I think that could be good news for guys like Nerlens Noel, but Julius Randle on the high end, I think is going to have to do more defensively rebounding without Mitchell Robinson in there. So I like him a lot here tonight. If Davis is able to give it a go, great. If not, Russell Westbrook, probably a primary spend at the point guard position. So those are a few quick thoughts on the NBA tonight. Again, only a 4-gamer. So it's not a ton to get into here with the NBA, Scott. Usually Wednesday nights are a big slate. So tomorrow night we can kind of dig a little bit deeper on the NBA. And we'll hand out some best bets in the NBA here at the end of the show. But let's go talk some football here, Scott. Obviously, Thursday right around the corner with the NFL. So quarterbacks, that's the news here for Thursday. Looks like Andy Dalton going to get the start here for Chicago in their Thanksgiving Day, a game here in Detroit. And it sounds like Jared Goff going to be back in that lineup for your Lions. So I don't know. Let's talk that. I don't know if you wanted to see more Tim Boyle. Did you want to see them go to David Blau? Do we want to get Goff back in there? You don't even care. Like, where do we come out on this quarterback roulette here with Detroit?
Man, Tim Boyle was the human victory cigar for the Packers for so many years there. And, he gets an opportunity. And, I mean, just like we mentioned earlier in the show, it's just so tough, I think, for these NFL quarterbacks to see the reads. These defenses are so good at disguising coverages. And I mean, that's just a position you really got to have experience or just have an ungodly amount of just natural ability, just athletic ability, which, we've seen before. But I don't think it really matters to me. Really, all those guys are the same to me. I don't think Goff. I think after this, I mean, do you really think Goff is going to get another starting job? I think he may last in the league, maybe as a backup, but I don't see Goff ever getting another opportunity after this to start for another team. So for me, it doesn't really matter, but I do like their chances this weekend. I think, I was watching something last night, and I think it was the Bulls game or whatever else. They're chanting "Fire Nagy, fire Nagy." I think that team is beaten and defeated. A lot of the players want Nagy out of there. I got to believe that they're thinking to themselves, we can go into Thanksgiving, we get rolled in here in Detroit by a team that don't have a win. It's going to be a sure thing he's going to get fired. So, Chris, I think you're on to something. I do like the Lions here at home getting the 3.5 points because I think the Bears. I mean, think about it. If you had a boss you hated, and the big boss came out and said, if you all don't start working harder, his ass is fired. I mean, come on. We're all going to leave that day and go out to lunch and go golfing. So the guy gets fired. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. So I truly expect that. But I think the Lions do have a little better chance with Goff. But I wouldn't say it's overwhelming. I think they're going to win by playing good defense and getting the ball to DeAndre Swift. I think that's how they're going to win.
You nailed exactly the reasons. I'm leaning on Detroit here. I know it's crazy to say they're going to win any games with the way they're playing right now, but this Matt Nagy thing has to come to an end, and you nailed it. That will be the final nail. I mean, you come in here and you lose to this team in front of a national audience. Everybody's watching this game, eating their turkey, getting their turkey ready, whatever it may be, that early in the morning. But you come in here and you lose to this Lions team, you will be fired. I promise you that. So if these players truly don't like him, and you have Andy Dalton at quarterback, which some may say that's an upgrade on Justin Fields right now. I mean, I know there's some Andy Dalton stands out there still that at least he's going to get the receivers the ball, but is Allen Robinson even going to play in this game? They don't have Khalil Mack. So I agree. It's going to be a big helping of DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams. Those are the turkey for the Thanksgiving dinner here in this game. They're going to get the ball a ton. And I think they do win this game. So I was looking up some money line odds, plus 132 on FanDuel right now. So don't mind rolling that out there. Leave the points for someone else. Detroit going to win this game. So let's continue to look at some of the other injuries we have here. Zach Wilson, quarterback there with the Jets. We've seen a roulette of quarterbacks there, but scheduled to work out today. See how that knee's going. So they'll decide on him. Alvin Kamara. No practice yesterday, so not looking great. They play on Thursday night, so we'll see if Kamara is able to give it a go, but not sounding good on him. Dallas, Amari Cooper going to miss another game. He is unvaccinated, so not able to return yet. CeeDee Lamb likely going to miss as well. We'll see. I know there's some optimism here that he can get through the concussion protocols, but looking a little more on the doubtful side. Calvin Ridley, this one interesting, Scott, is eligible to be activated from the NFI list, but they're not sure if there's any update on when he's going to return. So Arthur Smith did not have much to say there. Michael Carter, running back for the New York Jets, going to miss a couple weeks. We saw him leave the game against Miami. Kareem Hunt, sounds like he may return here this week. So I know he was close recently, so I think you'll see him back in that Cleveland lineup. Jamal Agnew, been a great story. Former Lion, goes to Jacksonville, playing well. He will be placed on IR. Likely miss the rest of the season. And A.J. Brown, x-rays negative on his ribs. So we'll keep you updated on A.J. Brown. So thoughts on all these injuries, Scott? We always have a laundry list of things to cover here. Some big names here. I think the biggest one, obviously, Alvin Kamara with that game coming up on Thursday. So any thoughts there? Anything else on the rest of this injury list?
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. And then obviously, too, with them Dallas receivers, I mean, that opens up a little bit of Michael Gallup and some Cedric Wilson for these games here on Turkey Day. But, yeah, as we said, man, the injuries, it just seems like they're piling up week after week. But for me personally, this Calvin Ridley news, I actually had him on the IR on a couple of my teams. And if he doesn't come back, I'm just going to give that up. I don't think he's coming back. It doesn't sound like he's in any kind of mindset to come back to football. So end up cutting bait there. But, yeah, just interesting, too, with Sad to see Jamal Agnew get hurt. I was actually kind of rooting for him. He's about the only Jaguar I really like to see running down the sidelines with the ball. Just always enjoyed watching him here in Detroit, and kind of sad to see him get hurt, especially with the good of the season he's having.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been one of those stories. Like I said, you like to see guys like that doing well and being productive in an offense. And, we all thought it was going to be Laviska Shenault. Wrong. It's Jamal Agnew, who was playing some good football there. So hate to see it. But let's look at some of the ads here for this week. We know a lot of you guys have your waiver wires running here tonight. So, Scott, some of the big names on the waiver wire that we're looking up. DJ Dallas here with Seattle, available in pretty much every league. I find it hard to believe DJ Dallas is owned unless you're in one of them crazy, 30-team leagues or something. So should be some more opportunity there in that Seattle backfield. The Jets, another backfield. We just spoke about Michael Carter. So Tevin Coleman, pretty much free out there. Ty Johnson, available in the majority of leagues. So those two will likely be a committee. I prefer Johnson there. He's looked good in some of his opportunities. Tevin Coleman just seems washed, Scott. I prefer Johnson there, but we'll talk about it. Rashard Higgins with Cleveland, some injuries in that Cleveland wide receiver core. Andy Dalton getting the start on Turkey Day, so he's an ad for some people. Rex Burkhead with Houston. We saw them let go Philip Lindsay, kind of surprising there. Not that he was getting any run, but he's a guy I still believe in, Philip Lindsay. So we'll see if he's able to latch on anywhere. But Rex Burkhead, moving up that depth chart. No Mark Ingram, and now Philip Lindsay gone. Cedric Wilson of Dallas, another ad here with Cooper out, with Lamb potentially out. We saw him run a ton of routes the other day against Kansas City. And some defenses, Chicago, obviously, with Detroit on deck here. And the Houston defense, Houston's favored in a game, which we rarely have said here this season, but a good spot here this week against the New York Jets. So, Scott, anyone to add to that? Anyone you're making a priority here? Again, I really like the Ty Johnson ad. Even in a bad offense, I think this guy could be good with his pass-catching chops, but kind of thin out there on the waiver wire here this week.
Yeah, it's pretty thin. I do like Ty Johnson, as you mentioned, over Tevin Coleman. I mean, they do have some pretty weak defenses coming up. They get Houston and they get Philadelphia, two defenses they could definitely run on, but definitely not too fruitful this week. I mean, you mentioned Andy Dalton. I mean, I just don't see the upside, but if you need somebody to plug in, I mean, I don't mind it at all. Obviously, he's indoors. We're getting to a time of the season where it's getting to be cold outside. And, as a rule of thumb in my mind, you never really see these games that are outdoors and it's super cold and these guys' breaths. You can see their breath as they're, playing and it's cold. And it just doesn't seem like you really get the points just turning as normal, especially like indoors. But you mentioned Burkhead. I don't mind him at all. He actually rushed 18 times. He only had 40 yards, but the touches is there. So I really like him, especially versus the Jets, who we've seen have just struggled. 9 backs have scored double figures against them so far. So I think Burkhead might be in a pretty decent spot this week, especially if you need a 1-week guy.
Yeah, and the matchup doesn't get much better than a game with the Jets. Just hemorrhaging fantasy points and touchdowns to running backs. So it's not often we can say Houston is a favorite, but that's the case here this week. So a few tight ends for you as well. Again, usually a tough position. Guys like Conklin for Minnesota, I think, is intriguing. Keep an eye on Logan Thomas. If he's able to return, maybe get out ahead of that one. He's probably on a lot of waiver wires with people waiting to see, is he going to be back? Is he going to be activated? I think we're getting close on Logan Thomas. So if he's still out there, you need some help at tight end. I don't hate adding him. All right, Scott, let's take a look at some of the early lines here in the NFL, see if there's anything we want to take advantage of. So we'll stick to the Thanksgiving days for now. We got Chicago. That one's about -3 now in most spots here. Dallas and the Raiders, Dallas by 7. And then we have Buffalo and New Orleans, the Bills -3.5. So any of those jumping off the page. We'll get to the rest of the games, but anything on Thanksgiving we want to attack here on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, I actually like the Lions, as you mentioned. If they're going to get that hook and that +3.5, I'm interested in that extra hook for sure, just in case the Lions lose, overtime or something like that to a field goal. So I'd be looking at that. And then also here with Dallas, it's just interesting to me the over-under on that game is so high, especially with some of these big pieces missing. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Elliott dinged himself up a little bit as well. So I think that one's interesting. I think it's pretty high. I think the Vegas defense is pretty good with Max Crosby, Eastern Michigan's own Max Crosby. I believe that's your school there, Mr. Prince. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think Max and the boy. I just think the defenses are better than everybody thinks here, and especially with Dallas missing their two big receiving threats, I think this game could slow down a lot. Dallas is a team. They either play super slow or they play pretty quick. So in the past, they've always been a slow, run-oriented team, and recently here in the last year or two, they picked up the pace. But I think with these guys missing, Chris, I think they're going to slow the pace down quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot of these are already on the move. That Lions, you can still catch some 3.5s. They're mostly threes out there. So if you don't want to get on the money line, like I'm saying, you want that 3 and a hook. There's a few of them still available out there. Dallas looks like that one. That total is already kind of ticked down at a lot of spots. So seeing some 51s, 50.5s out there. So you might be onto something with an under. Still might be some meat on that bone. And then Buffalo, it's kind of trending upwards towards the Bills here. I think as people realize Alvin Kamara probably not playing. So if you're in that same mindset, a lot of 5.5s here on Buffalo out there. So maybe you get on that before it ticks up even higher. But I kind of like that under call with Dallas and the Raiders. All right, let's move to Sunday, Scott. A bunch of games on the docket here, so I'm not going to rip through them all, but anything you're seeing here, spread-wise, total-wise, it just looks off here early in the week.
I was looking at the New England and Tennessee game a little bit. New England's starting out -4, over under 44.5. Chris, I think this game is another game that potentially could be an under here. I think these two games, these two teams are very slow with pace. I think you're going to see New England try to take out, even if Brown plays, even though he is hurt a little bit, I think he's going to be the guy they're going to take out. And then what are they going to do? They're going to rely on the run. And so I believe that game will be another slow-paced game. This is the time of the year, Chris, a lot of times, a lot of people, it's not fun to bet unders. But you know what? We're just getting to that time of year where I think the mindset is still out there that, the weather's nice and people aren't taking that into consideration. So I think this is the time of the year I generally like to start looking at unders.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in the totals that looked off. I agree with you, though. The weather, there's a lot of things you got to factor in to those totals. So keeping an eye on those. There's a couple spreads that still look right to me, Scott. So I want to get your opinion here on two of these spreads. The first one is the Chargers at Denver. We're showing Chargers -2. I want to look up and see if that has changed at all, but seems a little bit too low for a Chargers team playing well. Now, I don't know, they almost gave the game away against Pittsburgh. Couple crazy plays, though, that punt block, the interception. I mean, they were pretty much running away with this game. Denver's just been heading downhill. I know they had that impressive win against Dallas a few weeks ago, but to me, the Chargers, the much better team here. So if I can get it under 3, I really like that. So let's stop on that one, Scott. Again, I'm trying to look at the updated line, see if the up to the minute and see if there's any adjustments here. But thoughts on that one real quick. Seems like an easy Chargers play here.
Yeah, I was just looking at some head-to-head while you're talking. Denver's actually won the last 2 out of 3 games. The 2 wins were at home. But just something to think about. The over is 6-1 in their last 7 meetings in Denver, too. But also the underdog is 5-2-1 here, Chris. But I agree with you. I think a lot of NBA, a lot of betting in NFL, NBA, everything else is all recency bias. And we know in the NFL, I already got easy believing the NFL stands for no effing logic. So, and I think a lot of it has to do as a week-to-week league. You got to kind of look at, the mindset of a team. They just came off a loss on a Monday night. They shouldn't have lost. I think you're going to get them focused, and I think they're going to come in and beat this Denver team who, they're not happy with Bridgewater over there. So, it just makes you wonder, why is that line so low, especially with Herbert? It looked like he tried to get Williams the ball quite a bit more last week. They were just trying to get it to him, especially the start of the game. But, man, Eckler just is just a beast. Obviously tried to catch Jonathan Taylor there with all them touchdowns last week. But yeah, I just like that whole offense better with the Chargers than what we're seeing in Denver.
All right, one more that doesn't make sense to me is Seattle being favored in Washington against the football team. Now, this one has already swung at a lot of books. It opened up 2.5. It's Washington -1 at a lot of spaces, and that makes much more sense to me. There are still some plus opportunities here with Washington, just looking across some of the books. So I'm still seeing Seattle -1 at a Bet Rivers, places like that. So you may be able to get some money line odds on Washington and grab, if you can get even a +110 or something while they're still an underdog at some of these books, I think makes a lot of sense, Scott. Seattle has been horrendous. I mean, I thought that for sure at home against Colt McCoy, no DeAndre Hopkins, that they would bounce back, and they just looked terrible last week. So, and now to go on the road, face a Washington team who kind of surprised a lot of people themselves going into Carolina and getting a win. So I think Washington playing some decent football here. Seattle, not at all. I mean, they don't have a running back here. The defense has been atrocious. I like getting Seattle or Washington with some plus odds while you can here. I think this one ends up probably Washington -2, -2.5 before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I got to agree with you here. I mean, Washington's won their last 2 games, Chris. They went into Carolina and won 27-21. That's impressive. And then we know they beat Tom Brady 29-19. That's obviously impressive. And then you look at Seattle here. They've lost their last 5 out of 6 games. Their only victory was against the Jacksonville Jaguars and old Uncle Herbs over there, 31-7 at home. So obviously we got a team who's struggling against a team who's got to be feeling pretty good about themselves, especially after those 2 victories. So I like that call.
And the beauty of Seattle's a very public team. People, there's always the New Englands, the Dallas, the Seattle's. I guess my Packers probably fall into that, but Pittsburgh. There's always the teams that when you say it's a public team, it means they have a lot of fans, and a lot of fans will bet, not knowing that you got to look into things a little bit more. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm a fan of Green Bay. I'm going to bet on Green Bay." Scott, you call me out on this all the time. On the opposite end is sometimes I won't bet on them just because they are my team. So I'm a little more pessimistic. But think of how many people in your life that will bet on a game that really are only betting on what game's on TV, who's my favorite team. I mean, the books kill it on those kind of people. So the odds are always kind of slighted in their favor a little bit. And I think that's part of what's going on here. If you ask anyone out in the general public, if we went right now, Scott, and did a poll of 100 people around the Woodward Sports Studio, and we said, who's going to win between Seattle and Washington, what do you think that poll is going to say? I bet you it's 80%. Oh, Seattle's going to win. They got Russell Wilson. So am I wrong there?
No, I think you're right. That is something that, when I'm looking at games, I like to think about that too. I think that really works more with the Los Angeles and the California teams that are closer to Vegas for me, like the USC, man. When USC was rolling a few years back, it seemed like that they were the worst team to bet on. Them spreads were always juiced up 2, 3, 4 points because everybody in Vegas was betting, everybody out there is betting on them boys. And then you go out to Vegas and sure enough, it was confirmed. USC was like the most popular team. I think the Lakers are that way. Golden State was that way. I think you see quite a bit of that. So, yeah, definitely there's some bias with these public teams, as you mentioned. But for sure, I mean, Russell Wilson, we don't even know how he's feeling with that finger. It looked like he had some errant throws here and there. But, yeah, this Washington football team is definitely one that doesn't get the love, so to speak, in the in the discussions on a week-to-week basis on being a pretty good team. But yeah, I think they should have their way here with Seattle. I just don't like how that offense is running. I mean, when Seattle's good, they're running the ball well, and we just don't see that right now. So it just seems like they wanted to play fast. Now they're playing slow, and it just seems like they're really not in tune there. So yeah, I like that call on Washington.
Yeah, take advantage of the market inefficiencies. We can't say it enough here on the show. And the earlier you are to things, probably the better. As you get closer to the game kicking off, that is the most accurate line that the books are going to have. They've had all this information come in. They've had all the different bets come in. That's going to be the most accurate number. You want to try to find the ones that aren't very accurate. So, again, going through and whether you do it yourself and try to figure out beforehand, what are these odds supposed to be? What are some of the injuries that could change things and get out ahead of things? I think it's very, very advantageous, and I don't think it's a lot of thing. I don't think it's a thing that a lot of people are doing, Scott. I think a lot of people are waiting till Sunday morning, then they're firing up all their bets. Where we think there's a lot of great opportunities before that to attack some of these lines and get out ahead of some of these movements. So to me, the Chargers in Washington, two of those examples here this week. So speaking of best bets, Scott, it's that time of the show. We'll see if we can duplicate what you guys pulled off yesterday with a 4-0 start to the week. So I'm going to let you lead it off here. Best bets for Tuesday night. What do we got?
Chris, we got to get us some MAC action. We need to get us some MAC action. So I am going to take Western Michigan minus the 3.5. I'll even give the 4 in some spots against this Northern Illinois team. So I am going to go with Western Michigan. And like I said, I like me some MAC action and during the middle of the week. That's always a good time. And then, Chris, I think here in this Piston game tonight, I hate to say it, but Miami looks like they're in a pretty good spot, giving them 9. I think I'm going to go against the Pistons here, especially without any kind of centers. I think Bam is in a pretty good spot here. So I'm going to roll with the Miami Heat minus the 9, and I am going to take Western Michigan minus the 3.5 or 4.
All right, Miami was on Miami was on my short list. Yeah. No, I like it. They were on my. They weren't going to be here in my segment, but they were definitely on the short list of things that I was looking at. So I'm going to stay in the NBA here. I'm going to give you one total and one spread, Scott. I think you probably know where I'm going here. I've been a big proponent of the New York Knicks and the unders here, so I'm going to continue that trend here tonight. Looks like 214. Is the best number that we can find. 214 is the majority of the books here. I mean, no LeBron James right there. That takes away a lot of offense from the Lakers. If they're missing Anthony Davis as well, as much as we like Taylor Horton-Tucker, Russell Westbrook for fantasy, I think this could turn into an ugly game here. So give me the under in that game. And I'm going to go with the Clippers tonight. Even if Luka returns, the Clippers starting to play well. Luka, again, does he get a full allotment of minutes here? I just think the Clippers are the better team in this matchup. So there are some 3.5s out there, but the majority of them look like -4. So we'll say -4 just to be safe. We'll go on the other end. I don't want to take the low line that you're only getting at a couple books. So under 214 and the Knicks, Lakers, and the LA Clippers late night action. -4, my best bet. So 4 more on the board, Scott. So final thoughts here for the people. A little Maction. We talk some NFL. We talk some NBA. I feel like those hundreds are going to start flying here.
Yeah. We got to get us some lunch money. As we said, we got Black Friday to play for, Chris. So we got to get them kids taken care of for Christmas. So we're going to get us some winners, keep this week hot. And then, as you mentioned, we'll be back and we'll talk about some Turkey Day and all that fun stuff and get everybody set. So you guys can sit around with your family and tell everybody how great the Woodward Bet Show is and how much fun you're having watching us and all that fun stuff. We definitely appreciate that. And, hey, tell a couple of your friends to follow us on Twitter or follow us. You can follow Chris at Beer Makers Fan or me at Gyiraszin. But we definitely appreciate all the love you guys give us and wish you guys all a happy Turkey Day if you don't get a chance to see us tomorrow.
Absolutely. I mean, you're enjoying the free picks. All we ask, hey, give us a follow on Twitter and spread the word. That's all we're asking you to do. We're bringing you this show for free. We appreciate all of your guys' support. So, again, you're at Thanksgiving. Pull up a show. Check these guys out. Look at these winners. If you're winning bets, send us those tickets. So we want to share in the wealth. We love seeing people doing well out there. That's the big point of this show. We want to give you the knowledge to go out and make money doing this, betting, DFS, whatever it may be. So if you got some winning tickets out there, don't hesitate. Share them with us at Woodward Bets. Again, follow the network at Woodward Sports. For Scott, for our boy Easy Behind the Glass, I am Beer. We are Woodward Bets. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your bets tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.